So this one sheet is going to be plenty of vegetables for me to then take and add to all of my meals for the week. Because again, it's just Chris and I. This is dinner for two. We don't need 7 cups each all the time. My favorite oil for roasting is a high temperature oil, and I like to use avocado oil. This is the best of the best. Extra virgin olive oil is great for salad dressings. It's great for finishing dishes with, and it can withstand high heat, but it imparts quite a distinct flavor. So if you're Italian and you love that, that's great. But if you want a neutral oil that is healthy, that is heart healthy, that has a high heat smoke point, that's not going to burn and smoke when you use it, avocado oil is absolutely where you want to go. And I don't measure this. I don't measure this at all. That's the best part. Who has time for that? Not me. So we just put the oil everywhere, and then we're going to add some salt. And we're going to add some pepper. These are available on Amazon. I'll have them on my Amazon store linked shortly. And that's it. We want to keep this really neutral because this is going to be going with an Asian dish. This is going to be going with an Indian dish. And this is going to be going with a basic chicken dish. So cook them all together, totally fine, and then add your ethnic seasonings later. But while you're cooking them, you don't want to devote this to, like if you added ginger, this would be a very Asian dish and it might not work with your Mexican dish. So while you're cooking, keep it neutral. So these are going to go into the oven at 400 degrees for about 45 minutes, and they're going to get nice and brown and caramelized. Chef tip 101, we're going to cook it once and use it several times. Everything I'm going to be making today is going to have onions, peppers, and garlic. So that's what I'm going to do right now in my pan. I've got my pan preheated, nice and warm, going in with that high heat olive oil. That's very heart healthy. And I'm going to do my onions first. Now, peppers are kind of wet and they can release a lot of liquid, which is going to stop your onions from caramelizing. So you always want to do your onions first, then your peppers and your garlic last, because if your garlic burns, it's going to be bitter and that is not good eat.
No, we want them nice and sweet.
That's right.
Looking good.
Got my sous chef with me, Miss Lisa. She's been a huge help today. She can pick a chicken like nobody's business.
Don't let Joe know that.
Yes, that's usually her husband's job.
Joe usually does all the cutting and all the chicken picking.
So you can see this is already starting to brown.
Mm-hmm.
And we know it's good to add our peppers in now. So this is 2 red peppers and a yellow pepper. You just use what you have. Luckily, with cooking as opposed to baking, you don't have to use such specific ingredients and measurements. It's kind of what you have on hand. And if there's something that I really only want you to use a tablespoon of, I'll tell you. But if not, you can just measure with your heart. I think that's why I was always drawn to cooking over baking, because baking is so specific with measurements. And I'm more of a whatever you feel like.
On my site knows I'm like free for all, just
throw it in.
Bacon and all. I don't measure much.
That's great.
And the thing is, if you said 2 teaspoons of garlic, a lot of people don't like a lot of garlic. So it's
true.
Each preference.
And I like a lot. So
and I do too.
So this is going in like probably 1/4 cup for all of this. And I do find I'm using the Kirkland mints. This is so easy.
It's the best.
It is excellent.
The only thing I hate is the lid.
Yes, because it gets the sugars from the garlic make it hard to turn.
You can't turn it, and then it's right rough. It's not smooth.
True.
They need to change the lid on it. That's the only thing I hate about that.
And if you're not a super big garlic lover, it isn't as potent as raw. And then your fingers aren't going to stink from cutting the raw.
Right.
Now, if I was making a Caesar salad dressing from scratch or something, I probably would use raw because it does have more of that bite. But for cooking, once it's all cooked, it kind of all evens out anyway. And this is done already, guys. So this is prepped, and this is going to go in some form or fashion, a few tablespoons of it at a time, into 7 meals. A pan heated with oil because I'm about to cook my pork. I'm using this pork in 2 separate dishes. So all I have to do is cook it and then change up the sauces.
And you didn't cut that pork.
I didn't. This came pre-shredded. Again, because I shopped on a Wednesday, I got it for 30% off. Now, the only thing I am going to do is season it. So it's going to get some pepper and it's going to get some salt, because I would be doing that for any dish, whether this was Asian, whether this was Mexican, whether this was Italian, it would be getting salt and pepper. So that's all this pork is going to get for now. And my only job is to just make sure it's cooked all the way through. Pork has to be 145 degrees internally if you're checking. But basically, if you cut it in half and it's white in the middle and there's no more pink, you know it's done. So I have my oven on high, and I'm just going to stir fry this. This is probably going to take about 4 minutes. It's been a couple of minutes. Our pork is cooked all the way through. We've already tested it. So now we're going to set it aside and use the same pan, and we're going to cook some shrimp. So stay tuned for that. It's time to cook protein number 2, which is going to be shrimp. And I'm going to be pan frying it. So I'm blotting it with paper towel because dry shrimp is crispy shrimp. Now, the cool thing about shrimp is that depending on its size, your littlest shrimp are going to be 1 gram of protein each. But bigger guys like this can be 1.5 to 2 grams of protein each. So anytime I can throw shrimp into a dish, I'm going to, because not only do I love it, it's awesome protein and it's quite cost effective. So you just want to put your shrimp down into your pan that's pre-oiled with some of that awesome avocado oil, and you just don't want to crowd it because they do contain a lot of liquid. They can steam instead of fry. So you just want to make sure you give them some room and they cook fast. These guys are going to get some salt and pepper, and then they're going to get flipped once, and then they're done. This is starting to smell pretty good in here, isn't it, Lisa?
Yes, it is.
I think I can fit all these in one pan.
Yeah. I love shrimp.
Me too. And if you want to save even more time, I usually go by the cost here, but if you want to save even more time, buy your shrimp pre-cooked. You're not really sacrificing on quality when you do that, but these were much cheaper to get the uncooked versus the cooked this time when I was grocery shopping, so that's why I went with the raw.
And they don't take long to cook.
They really don't.
Like, they overcook them.
Yes. A lot of people think they don't like shrimp or seafood because they're cooking it wrong at home.
Yeah.
And that's true for everything. I find people even cook their Thanksgiving turkey dinners to death because they're so scared of having raw turkey.
Yeah.
And pork chops and different things. You know, once you know proper cooking times and internal temperatures, you're going to find probably the majority of your life
You've overcooked it.
You've overcooked it. And that's why things taste better in a restaurant, because chefs know how to do this the right way and they're not overcooking the shrimp.
And you didn't have to prepare it. That's why it tastes good too.
That too. That's right.
And clean up the mess.
Exactly. Worth its weight in gold. So the second these shrimp turn solid white or opaque, they're done. And they're actually going to continue to cook in the pan. So they're 90% done, and I'm going to shut off the heat and I'm going to pull them off because they'll finish cooking in the pan.
It took 2 minutes to cook those shrimp.
Perfect. This is a great fast. If you need to pick a protein, pick a side, and you're really in a hurry, use your shrimp. To start combining this all together. This is when it gets really fast because we had our mise en place, which is French for everything in place, because we had all that and we only had to chop once and we only had to cook our meats once. This is going to go really fast from here. If you remember from my grocery haul the other day, I was able to get this broccoli salad, which is broccoli slaw, 50% off. There's nothing wrong with it, but I'm not going to make salad with it. I'm trying to keep this low carb and diabetic friendly. So all of these beautiful shreds of broccoli are going to be just like noodles. So this is all just going to get dumped right in my frying pan that I have a little bit of avocado oil, and I'm going to fry that up. And then once that has gotten caramelized, I'm going to add a little bit of our onion and pepper mixture, and I'm going to add half of my pork. And then for a sauce, you might have seen me use this in one of my videos. It's just a sugar-free teriyaki sauce. This happens to be the Kinder's brand, but I know in Calais you can get the G. Hughes sugar-free teriyaki. There's all kinds of sugar-free teriyaki sauces available. If you can't find one, teriyaki sauce is just garlic, ginger, and soy sauce. So you can do that and then add your own sweetener of choice or no sweetener. It's totally up to you. But if you want a really fast sauce, get one that's pre-bottled. Just look at the ingredients and make sure it aligns with what diet you're doing. And it's as simple as that. And with all of your Asian stir fries, you don't want to cook your vegetables to death. You still want to leave them a little al dente, because that is why it always tastes better when you have it at the restaurant as compared to home, because we're overcooking everything. So don't make that mistake with your meat, and don't make that mistake with your vegetables. And this is already starting to soften. I can smell it. It's already got my carrots in there too. So really don't be skipping the bagged salad portion of the grocery store.
Easy prep.
Exactly. Work smarter, not harder. You're going to hear me say that a lot.
So what I like is you can use what we have prepared here for multiple meals.
Yes.
So you're not eating the same thing all week long.
It's going to be completely different cuisines, completely different textures, completely different sauces. But look how those different colored peppers and onions have brightened the look of that dish right up already. And they're just adding layers and layers of flavor. And this is almost done, guys. This is really how fast this is. And we want lots of protein, so half of my pre-cooked pork is going right in.
Looks good.
And I'm going to put a little bit of those reserved cooking pork juices in because that's all flavor. You don't want to waste that. And then finally, we're just going to dump the sauce right on top. And then this is done, guys. Lisa, why don't you grab a fork and we'll try it and see how it tastes.
All right.
I'm going to shut my heat off because we're already done cooking.
This is my favorite part.
This is the best part.
The eating.
Yes, and you got
I
to
like
get
watching you cook and me eat. This is what.
You're not the only one. So I'm going to grab a piece of broccoli and some beef, and we're just going to check for seasoning. Make sure it's
Am I
salty
gonna burn
enough.
my lips?
It tastes just
Oh my
like
Lord.
the restaurant.
It's delicious.
You guys are going to love this,
Oh my gosh.
right?
Yeah.
So good. It's time to cook our third protein of the day, and this is going to be used in 2 separate dishes, and this is beef. And if you remember from our grocery video, I was able to get this 30% off, and it was already cut up, so work smarter, not harder, guys. This is going to go right into my frying pan, just like the shrimp did, and just like the pork did, and the only thing I'm going to add for seasoning is salt and pepper. That way I don't put too many ethnic flavors across the dishes. So this just needs to get browned and has some salt and pepper, and then it's going to be good to go. And you're gonna see what I'm gonna do with it for 2 separate suppers. Gonna keep trucking and combining things. This one is so fast, guys. Lisa can't believe it only has, 4 ingredients, and it's so good. So this is going to be my Hawaiian pork. So I'm going to put the rest of my pork in, and I'm gonna let that start heating up. And I need a spatula. And again, it's going to go in with more of those beautiful fried onions and multicolored peppers. It's going to provide some crunch and some flavor. And then you're not going to use the whole can, but you're only going to use a half a can, but with the juices. This is just crushed pineapple and its juices. If you can find it in water, that's even better, but if you can't, just make sure it's not in heavy syrup. And this is going to give you the whole sweet and sour vibe. And when that hits the garlic,
About a cup.
and yeah, I'd say about a cup. And then we're just going to use a bottled sauce again. Keep it really easy. So this is the Sweet Baby Ray's, no sugar added. I did get this at the Callis Walmart, and they always have it there. But there's lots of sugar-free barbecue sauces available in Canada too. There's the G. Hughes and the Stubbs.
Yeah.
Walden Farms is another one I've seen. And this is probably going to be a 1/4 cup because that's about what I have left.
And when all else fails, go to your Amazon. They will have it.
That's true too, yes.
You might pay a little bit more for it, but
It's worth it for the
it's worth
variety.
it. Goes right to your door. Who doesn't love that? I even order my toilet paper right to my door.
Oh yeah, coffee pods, everything.
Everything. Paper towel.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, this looks good.
And honestly, this is it, guys. This is going to be nice and saucy. If you are in maintenance, or if you're only trying to lose like that last 5 or 10 pounds, put some rice under this, guys. Like, rice isn't the devil. It is going to elicit a little bit of an insulin response. So if you're at the beginning of your weight loss journey, you might want to save that for one of your 20% meals. And if you have it as is, this is definitely an 80% meal. This is totally keto, diabetic, whatever friendly, even with that pineapple, because it's going to be dispersed through, this is almost 4 servings. So
Now here's a question. If you
Yep.
do the rice,
yes,
is it better to do it as your dinner and not your supper?
it really doesn't matter. I've heard that about carb loading earlier in the day, but honestly, an insulin response is an insulin response. And in my opinion, I don't think it really matters. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
There you have it.
But as always, that's a good point though, because you don't want to be eating 2 hours before bed. So if you're going to have a late supper, I probably wouldn't have a carby late supper. So good point. And we're done already.
That's done.
So, yes.
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna give it a
Sizzling.
whirl.
We're gonna eat right out of the sizzling pan.
We are.
All right.
You tell me what you think.
Okay.
Sweet and smoky,
Oh my God.
pineapple-y, the onion and garlic.
I think we should forget filming and just sit
Just
and eat all
eat.
the dishes.
We could do that. Why not, right?
Oh, it's delicious.
It's so good and it's moist. Nothing's overcooked. And if you do not want to put this over rice, it's going to go great over the veggies that we have roasting in the oven right now. And that's actually how I'm going to plate it up for Chris and I. And we're ready for supper number 3. And this is a favorite of mine. This is a comfort meal. My mom made this a lot growing up. And it's going to be a little bit of a keto-fied version, but it's beef stroganoff. And this is one of Chris's favorites too. So I already have my beef cooked. And it's basically just going to be assembling the, I do have to cook my mushrooms though. That's right. So those are right over there if you want to grab them. Chef Lisa.
Yes. The assistant.
Yes, my sous chef. So this is just If you've never had beef stroganoff or wondered what it is, it's actually just beef and mushrooms and onions and peppers in a really creamy, tangy sauce. So the sauce couldn't be more simple. It's beef broth, sour cream, and ketchup. And of course, I'm going to be using no sugar added ketchup to keep the carbs lower.
So, about the sour cream.
Yes.
Do we use full fat, half fat? What do we use?
I always use full fat everything.
Me too.
And I have for years, and for good reason. So people used to be really scared of fat. We know that the war on fat happened in the 80s and 90s, and that's when we saw all those Snackwell's cookies come out and different things. And people didn't lose weight, they gained weight. Obesity has doubled since then. So now we know we don't need to fear fat. And in fact, a few recent studies that just came out in 2022 showed that participants of a study where they were dieting, they were fed fat-free dairy products. This is dairy specifically, fat-free dairy products and full fat. And they concluded that there is absolutely empirically no evidence linking the use of full-fat dairy to obesity now. And in the study, the people who used the full-fat dairy actually lost more weight than the participants using fat-free. And if you want to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole,
Which we do.
we love the rabbit holes. We're all about the rabbit holes. Look at how skim milk is made. It's actually gross. They put it into a centrifuge and they heat it, and it extracts all the fat out, and there's always still like a little bit residual, and it makes it go rancid, and it tastes awful. And what they're left with is this crusty powder that they scrape off the centrifuge, and then they have to add water back to it, and that's your skim milk.
Yeah.
It is crusty.
To make it a liquid again.
To make it a liquid again, that's right. You're just drinking gallons of crusty, and then they have to put all the vitamins back into it too. Crusty old dried up milk. And then
a lot of vitamins get lost in that process.
they get lost in it, and then they have to fortify it and put vitamins back in. But because they're fat-soluble vitamins and there's no fat in it, you're peeing them right out. They do not bond with the fat molecule because there isn't one there for it to bond to.
You have it. Now let's do a little tidbit on the mushrooms, Kathy.
Okay.
When you're cooking mushrooms.
Yes.
What, you know how they can get the
You
sweat?
want to, yes, you want to cook them until they squeak, and they're going to actually squeak in the pan. You want your pan dry with oil. You don't want your mushrooms wet. You want to pat them dry after you've rinsed them off, and that's basically once they kind of get squeaky, you've cooked off any of their liquid, and that's when it's time to add everything else. And we're just about there right now. So I'm going to take half of my beef mixture because remember, cook once, use twice. Half of my beef mixture is going in, and I'm going to even add some of the beef cooking juices because all that is flavor. You never want to put flavor down the sink.
No.
And we're going to go in with one whole container of sour cream.
Now, could you use Greek yogurt in place of this?
You could, but I do find it has a little bit of a different mouthfeel.
Okay.
So you can. It's up to you. It would give you more protein, and there is still protein in sour cream too, but you are going to get more in Greek yogurt.
But say that's all you had. You didn't have no sour cream in the house.
Absolutely. Good call. And my sour cream, because my fridge is kind of funky, it was in the back, and it did get frozen a little bit.
My fridge is doing the same.
So this is real life, guys. We use previously frozen sour cream.
My fridge is doing the exact same thing.
Yes, it's because I always load mine up too big.
Yeah, it's true.
But
And
anyways,
the air can't circulate.
that's exactly it. So the beef broth, the ketchup, and the sour cream now just need to reduce, and it's going to take maybe 5 minutes. Reduced, it's nice and thick and yummy. And growing up, I would have had this on top of buttered egg noodles, but instead I'm going to put it on top of my delicious roasted veggies so it still can stay low carb. But we do need to give it a try. We want to make sure it's salty and creamy and beefy.
I get a big piece.
You go for it.
A smaller piece.
That's all right.
I'll probably want a bigger piece. Oh, it's going to be hot.
Yeah, give it a blow. Let's see. Oh, and see, letting that reduce really pulls the water out and intensifies all the flavor.
Lord.
So it's really beefy. And the mushrooms make it beefy too.
Oh.
But that little tang from the tomato and then the sour cream tang too. If you've
My
never
Lord.
had beef stroganoff, you really want to try this. And also, if you don't have steak, you can use ground beef. So you can do this with hamburger too. And if you only have ground pork, you can use that. I've never done it with chicken, but I do know that pork and hamburger are great with this too.
Oh my Lord.
And if you are in maintenance or you don't mind having a potato once in a while, the ground beef version of this over a potato.
Potatoes? Oh, that'd be good.
Yep, and then covering with cheese is awesome. So this has a lot of possibilities, and because we only had to cook the mushrooms, it just takes a couple of
And
minutes.
it's so easy.
Super easy, comes together fast, and it's like 5 ingredients. For our second beef dish, and Chris and I love curry, and I know Lisa does too. And curry can be kind of overwhelming if you don't know what to put in it, but it's actually pretty basic. It's going to be garlic and ginger, a few Indian spices, but the secret in getting that silky sauce is from using the fat of coconut milk. And the coconut milk I want you to use is the kind in the can. You can't use the coconut milk that's made by Silk or like the almond milk and the cashew milk in the grocery store. That's not the same thing. So this is actually the fat, and this is very healthy. This is pure MCT oil, and this is what helps prevent Alzheimer's, and it's very, very brain healthy, and it's delicious. And it just gives a mouthfeel like nothing else. We're gonna let this just sort of melt a little bit, and we're going to bloom our spices. This is when you wanna put your spices in. So the first spice is gonna be Madras curry. And pro tip, save all of your mason jars and save your Parmesan cheese lids, because these make great spice storage.
It does.
And this is going to be probably 2 good tablespoons. This
I like
is the
that
majority.
You measure like me.
Yep, we're just gonna sprinkle and go, and it's gonna start to smell really good in here.
It's like 2 tablespoons, you say?
I would say 2 tablespoons of your Madras curry, which is yellow. It's the most mild. It's incredibly mild. And now this is going to be 1 tablespoon of garam masala. And all garam masala is it actually means spice blend in Indian. And it's just a blend of common spices that they use in Indian cuisine. There's going to be cinnamon and cardamom. You can smell the cinnamon almost right away. And it's almost like if you've ever eaten any ethnic food or any Indian food, it smells like something you've eaten before, but you just didn't know what it was. That's what this is going to be.
Could you make that in a tea?
Oh, I'm sure you could. Yeah, there is some red pepper in there, but you could. Every time you eat your hot peppers, it's increasing your inside temperature, basically, and you burn more
I
calories.
just love ginger.
And so this is fenugreek. If you use too much of this, it can get bitter, so this is just a sprinkle, but this is what makes your butter chicken taste so good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I love that.
love it. Yep. And just a little sprinkle, and then I'm going in again with some powdered ginger, just because I find it works a little better.
Now, is that a sprinkler? So you
Yes.
know that you can turn the lid to make it sprinkle?
I didn't know that.
So, I don't. How much? Did you already put it all in?
You can put more in.
Because
It's just
look,
ginger.
you can have it steams
And
up.
turn it like that? Oh my goodness. This is why I keep you around, cutie patootie. Learn something new every
Yeah,
day.
you just turn the bottle and it sprinkles it for you, so you
That
don't have to
is-
shake.
Never, ever knew that.
Yeah.
So this is going to turn a lovely golden color, and it's going to be nice and thick.
Looks like pea soup.
It does right now, yep. And we're just letting those spices bloom in the heat and permeate through the coconut oil.
So what's the temperature?
This is on high. This is definitely hot. But once it's done blooming, we can lower it down.
Yeah.
And we're already there. So I'm going to turn it down, and now I'm going to add half, maybe even a quarter of a can of tomato sauce. This is just no-name regular tomato sauce. And that's going to be the basis of the sauce. And it might seem weird to put tomato sauce
But
with
it's
coconut oil, but
delicious.
it's so good.
I love curry.
Me too.
And again, this is cooking with the same stuff.
Same pan, yes. And on that note, we're going to be adding some of our peppers and onions and garlic.
And that's what, 4?
This is our 4th dish we've used this in. So
Yeah.
cook once, use 4 times. All of the rest of the beef is going in.
There we have it.
And Lisa and I both like corn in our curry, and so does Chris. So we're just going to put a whole can of drained corn in. And that is dish number 4, I believe.
Yep.
This is supper number 4 done. I'm just going to toss it in the sauce, and I'm going to get Lisa to taste it, and I'm going to taste it and make sure it doesn't need some seasoning. You always want to taste along the way. Even though we added salt and pepper all along the way, you can still need a little bit more at the end.
And
sometimes.
this would be good over rice as well.
This would be amazing over basmati rice. It would. And I also love turnip and sweet potatoes with my curry. Some curries will have that already in it too.
So you could chop that up and then
Put it
top
right in, or top it on top of mashed turnip,
Mhm.
or squash. Any of those kind of sweeter root vegetables are great too. Or potato if you like potato.
Yeah.
A lot of curries go on top of potato. So, do you have your spoon, or do you need to get one? All right, let's give it a whirl. Let's make sure it's salty enough. See if it needs a little bit of sweetness, because it might.
Oh my god.
It just keeps getting better.
Mhm.
I am going to add a tiny bit of salt.
Mhm.
And what do you think it needs, sweet or no?
Nope.
No sweet,
I
just
need
salt?
salt.
Yeah. Just a little bit more. Season high for good coverage.
Oh, it's good stuff.
Let's
Good
taste
even without
one
the
more
salt.
time. Yeah, the corn gives you all the sweetness you need, especially if you're
Good,
going to
yeah,
eat
you
it with
don't need it
sweet
sweeter.
potatoes. That was it. Dish number 6 starts now. I've got some oil heating in my pan, and we're gonna take quite a bit of this shredded rotisserie chicken, and it's gonna go right in. And we are making chicken enchilada bake. And it is going to be good. It's kind of like a Mexican lasagna almost. Trying to hit a bunch of different flavor profiles tonight, so that you don't get bored. That's so important. If you were trying to eat healthy and cook at home, you're not going to keep up with it if you keep eating the same things, right. Or if you're missing restaurant style meals, or if you get bored. Like, boredom is the Achilles heel, it's the kryptonite to healthy eating. So if you keep trying new recipes like these, you're not going to get bored. And there's no need to eat the same thing every single day. Life is too short for that, my friends. So we're just warming this through. And then I'm going to add a bottle of President's Choice, not sure if you can see that or not, red enchilada sauce. And this is not spicy. Since having my sleeve surgery, I actually can't do spicy at all anymore. So even that Indian curry, that was like a 1 out of 10 on the spice scale. So this is just some yummy, tomatoey chili peppers, but not spicy chili peppers. And I'm going to do 1 package of fajita seasoning. And that's going to go right in too. And we're just going to combine this. And then, again, with those same wraps that we used for the pasta, we are going to layer like lasagna inside of my little containers. So there, that's all ready. That's all nice and moistened. And that's all we needed it to do. So I'm going to turn the heat off, or we could add a little. Yeah, sure. Dump some of that in, Lise.
In here?
Right in here, actually. Make it a little saucier. That's great. You don't want it too wet, because then your noodles could get over gummy, but yeah, a little bit more. That was a good call. That's why I keep you around, baby. So,
More?
let me
That
see.
looks good.
No, I think that's good.
Yeah, I wouldn't put any more.
So what we're gonna do is we're going to put just a little bit down in the bottom.
And they can't see this.
Okay, I'll get you to hold that
Yeah.
while I layer it. So we have a little bit in the bottom, and then I have pre-cut the lavash bread so that it fits. And then we're gonna go with, I thought I had these over here, sorry. These are called charo beans, and they are delicious. This is what you get, and you mash it and make refried beans with. These are already seasoned so well, and it's from a company right out of Mexico. They can do it better than I can. Work smarter, not harder. So we're going to layer in some of these beautiful charo beans, and there's little pieces of bacon and everything in
Where
that.
did you find these, Kathy?
Those were from Callis Walmart.
Okay.
And you could probably get them right at the Mexican cooking section of any grocery store. They're very, very, very common. And then we're going to layer some more chicken. And then the fun part, we're going to put some cheese on top. But you could use pepper jack or Monterey, whatever you like with your Mexican food. But I just love that kind of tangy orange cheddar flavor.
I love orange cheddar.
Me too.
Or white cheddar.
Or white cheddar. Yes, they're both great. And then we're going to put the next layer right on top. And so this doesn't get baked, guys. When it's time to eat this for supper, this just gets heated up in the microwave for probably a good 5 minutes. But that's it. This is such a fast, fun supper. I mean, you could bake this in the oven if you wanted to, but I don't really see the need to heat up your whole oven. And this is what's great about meal prepping, even in the summer when it's really hot. You just have to cook once a week. It couldn't be any more simple. And we're just going to top this with 2 more pieces. And then cheese on top, and then the lid goes on, and it goes in the fridge until Chris decides he wants to have this. This is his portion. It's going to be a little bigger than mine's going to be, but that's okay. He's a hungry boy. So that's it. This is your chicken enchilada bake. Okay, guys, it's our last dish. I can't believe it. This actually, like I said, if you have your mise en place done, you have everything in place, it's just, it takes almost as long to rinse out your pan and start again as it does to actually cook what you're cooking, especially when you're using your pre-cooked chicken. So I have some avocado oil heating up, shocker, and I'm gonna add some garlic. I'm not gonna measure, I'm just gonna put some garlic in here, and I'm gonna put some celery in here. And so we are making a gumbo stir fry. Now traditional gumbo would have a roux, and it's gonna have butter and flour and kind of like a gravy that way. And I just don't want the carbs, and I'm trying to keep things a little bit healthier for all of you so you can know how to make some truly keto and low carb ingredients without compromising on things like that. So I'm just going to stir fry some garlic and celery. So in French cooking, a mirepoix, which is the basis of almost everything that you cook, is onions, celery, and carrots. But in Cajun cooking and in Creole cooking, they have what's called the Holy Trinity. So that is celery, onions, and peppers. So there's no carrots here, it's going to be the peppers. And if you remember, I have a little bit left of my onions and my peppers. That's going to go right in here. And that smells amazing already. Now, gumbo usually has all kinds of different meats in it. A traditional Creole gumbo would have andouille sausage or boudin sausage, but I was able to get some kielbasa on sale, so that's what I'm going to use. Lisa, if you want to grab that, that's right over there. And it's okay for these to still have a little bit of a bite, but they're getting soft already. So we're going to add one section of kielbasa sausage, and this alone is going to put so much flavor into here. So this is a pork-based sausage, and it's going to be seasoned with some onion and some garlic, just things that already complement what we have going on in here. And as you saw in the video before, we did pre-cook our shrimp. So we have about a pound of shrimp, I'd say, and these are really good size. So those are going to go in. We're going to toss all that around. We're already almost done, guys. I mean, it really is just dump and stir. We've got our chicken, the last little bit of chicken. You want to talk, thank you dear, about a protein-packed meal? This is it. And so the meat and the flavor of the sausage and the garlic and the onions, that really is the star of this. You could add a Creole seasoning if you wanted to, but it probably is going to be kind of spicy. So I'm just calling this a Cajun stir fry or a gumbo stir fry. So I don't really care that it doesn't have the gravy, but I don't want it to be too dry. So I have a little bit of tomato sauce left from my can from 2 other dishes, and I'm just going to add that right in. And a lot of gumbos typically have stewed tomatoes or something added in them, so we're not being too blasphemous by doing this.
We get 3 meals out of that 1 can, didn't we?
3 meals out of 1 can. Again, because I'm only cooking for Chris and I, for the 2 of us, you really don't need a lot of any one thing. This smells amazing. And I'm just going to hit it with some salt and some pepper, and I think that's going to be the only seasoning that we need. Season up high so you have even distribution. Great. And I'm going to do the same for some pepper. And that is meal number 7, and we are done. I can't wait to show you how good everything looks back here. And we haven't even added all of the vegetables that we roast in the oven to this yet. So this can absolutely go on top of rice, or if you like dirty rice. And it would taste great on pasta too. But really, this is, and all of these are 1-pot meals. I'm going to eat them just how they are and maybe put a side of vegetables with them too. Some of the ones that had more meat than vegetables. But this is a meal right in a pan right here. So I'm going to shut the heat off, and Lisa and I are going to give it a taste.
And that only took 4 minutes to get this cooked.
I want to try shrimp. Yes, if even. Let's try it.
Good.
The celery. That's what I'm getting. The celery and the peppers and the garlic. That tastes fresh.
Yeah.
That was a big shrimp.
Now, something else we got to talk about.
Yes. I'm going to take this off the
Cilantro.
heat. Oh, yes.
Let's talk about cilantro. Because there's people out there, they taste soapy cilantro.
They do. And there's a reason for that. So, if you think you don't like cilantro, it's probably because you had it in a restaurant that had it pre-chopped and set out into a side dish for your tacos or whatever, or it was pre-chopped and then sprinkled all over your dish. That is the wrong way to do things. So, you want to not do anything to your cilantro until right before you eat it, and you want to rip it with your hands. If you chop with a knife, you're actually bruising it, and that exposes all of those little molecules. It's going to make it turn brown, and the air is going to get to it, and that is what gives that soapy taste. Fresh cilantro that is just torn or eaten whole in little leaves tastes amazing, and that's actually where the seed coriander comes from. So if you see coriander in a recipe, that's just cilantro seeds. So don't discount cilantro yet. Try it once, buy it in the grocery store, and just rip it off and sprinkle it on, or I'll try not to burn the house down. Or just sprinkle it on any of your Mexican dishes. I love it on Asian dishes. I love it in soup.
I love it on my sandwiches.
Yes, it's so good. It's almost lemony. Like it
delicious.
really has its own lemony flavor. And if it's soapy, it's probably because it was oxidized. So give it a try, and it's a great way to just add some fresh greenness and one more layer of flavor. So that concludes 7 meals. And we haven't been that long at all. Honestly, I think we've been longer doing dishes in between. If you have 7 frying pans, you're going to be faster than we were. So we're going to cut this right quick, and then we're going to go over and just show you what all 7 look like plated. So we'll be right back. Should the dishes and all the mess be part of it?
Yeah.
This
is real life.
7 completely different meals, all done right around an hour. We might have been a little bit longer just because we were talking and had to do dishes and things. But, you know, if we weren't filming and this was just real life in a kitchen, you're not going to be very long at all. It's basically once you get your meats cooked, it's just dump, stir, and go, and you're all set. These containers have come from anywhere from Amazon to the dollar store to Giant Tiger. But we really like glass. You're not going to get those forever chemicals and the PFAs and different things. And they're not very expensive at all. So next time you're out, maybe pick up some containers, and it really helps with portion control. You'll notice some of these have an extra empty thing on the side. That's where those roasted veggies are going to go, because we still have that whole sheet tray of roasted veggies to add to all of this too. And like I said, that day at the grocery store, I spent $279, and I didn't even use probably half of everything I bought that day. So you can really do this on a budget. You can do it with not a lot of time, and you can do it so that you can lose 150 pounds too. Thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments down below if there's any meals you would like to see in the future. Maybe we could do like a whole dessert round or something.
Oh, yes,
that would be kind of fun. Or maybe
snacks and desserts.
Snacks and desserts. It's getting to be snack season with the holidays coming up. So yes, let us know what you'd like to see. We hope you enjoyed it. We had a blast, and we'll definitely be doing this again.
Ciao.
See you later.